What's up, y'all? How are you? What's going on? I'm super duper 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 excited because I have the opportunity to share with you today a couple of resources to help you get more clarity and increase your confidence in your career in 2020. So, for those of you who don't know me, hey, I'm Jacqueline Twillie, president at ZeroGap.co. We are the leadership development firm supporting women leaders within male dominated industries. And I'm also the best-selling author of Navigating the Career Jungle and Don't Leave Money on the Table. So I'm bringing you this free training today because I know 2020 has been quite the doozy, but here's the deal. It doesn't matter what the year is. We all have things where we experience life and we have to increase our resilience, refocus, and stay confident in order to boost our personal leadership. Now, when it comes to personal leadership, the number one question I get is, I want to be a successful leader, Jacqueline. How do I do that? Or the other variation is, how do I get my team to feel inspired and keep them productive and moving forward when so many things are happening? So here's the deal. It starts with you. Leadership of others starts with your personal leadership. The way that you have clarity in your own life and the way that you exude confidence in your executive presence in your own life, it translates. So I want to share with you a few tools to do that. Now, what I'm giving you today is just a snapshot of what's in the Resilient Leaders Program, which is a program that Zero Gap runs. Now, this program is designed really for women leaders in male dominated industries to help them increase their clarity and confidence and give them a strategy to move forward. What I find is that a lot of women, they sit back and they work really hard. They keep their head down and they wait for somebody to notice them, to give them a promotion or to give them a raise or to say, hey, do you want this awesome opportunity? And real talk, y'all, that doesn't happen. Not at all. So what is the secret sauce? It is found in you being able to articulate for yourself your career aspirations, for you to speak up and say, hey, I might be leading a team right now, but my ultimate goal is to lead more teams, to have greater impact, to make a big difference inside of my organization. And so, in order for you to express that to somebody, and in order for you to get to the place where you're making a big impact, you have to have a high level of confidence and clarity to move forward. Now, this is the other thing that I see a lot, and I've been doing this work for nearly 10 years working with women leaders. Clarity is a thing that when we hear the definition, we're like, oh, yeah, clarity. You know what you want, you're clear on it, boom, boom, boom. But when it gets down to the nitty gritty, you sit there and you start thinking, and it's like, whoa, so many ideas, so many thoughts. Where do you start? It's kind of like, I want you to think back to your days in college. When you were packing up that dorm room and moving out, you were like, where do I start? I have so much stuff. Here's the thing. You got to start with what you can start with. Yeah, that sounds silly. Start with what you can start with, but start with the thing right in front of you. So let me walk you through this and help you with some tips and strategies. Now, at Zero Gap, we talk about emulating excellence all the time. Emulating excellence simply means that you give 110% today. It doesn't mean that you strive for perfection because, number one, perfection is cray. Perfection is unattainable, and perfectionism is the cousin of procrastination. And because we think we want to be this woman who is perfect, it prevents us from taking action. So when we talk about emulating excellence simply means doing what you can today to get started, meaning start with what you can start with, okay? What can you do today? Now, Zero Gap Advantage is your partner to help you lead with clarity and confidence. And our team is dedicated to supporting your leadership development, and that's your personal leadership and the way you lead your team. So we put together this leadership playlist for you all. So what's the leadership playlist from Zero Gap Advantage? Well, what we do is we help you with some tools to help you increase your clarity and confidence. We also have other playlists like executive presence, conflict resolution, negotiation. We can get to that later. So to maximize your development, we use a combination of books, audiobooks, podcasts, TED Talks, case studies, etc. So today what I want you to do is I want you to think about, if you're going to use audiobooks as your medium of learning, your modality of increasing your leadership development, step number one, I want you to start eliminating excuses and distractions. Now, the reason why I like audiobooks for eliminating distractions is because it allows you to go back. If you miss something, you can hit rewind and, okay, get back on track. That's one way to eliminate some distractions. According to a Forbes.com study, it tells us that multitasking can reduce our productivity by as much as 40%. So when you're listening to an audiobook, try not to do too many things at once. Sometimes we think, oh, I'll just pop this audiobook in and then I'll read these emails, I'll respond to this, I'll write this report, I'll do these other 50 million things. Try not to do that, because if your brain is focused on other things, you're not absorbing the information. Number two, take some notes. When you're listening to an audiobook or a podcast, have an electronic notebook or a physical notebook available so that you can record the thoughts. Like you're listening to the book and something really jumps out at you. One, if you're using Audible, you can bookmark it and take a note in the app. But if you're using another app, pull out your electronic notebook and say, okay, this is the book I'm reading. This is the thought that it sparked. Now, number three, I want you to listen. After you've eliminated distractions and you prepare to jot down your notes, press play on that audio book so you can begin to increase your learning. So let me get to some suggestions. These are 3 books that I recommend for cultivating your confidence. And this one is specifically for women leaders who are emerging executives, this set of books. So The Confidence Code by Katie Kay and Claire Shipman. It talks about the science and the art of self-assurance. So I don't know about you, but I personally dealt with imposter syndrome before. Let me tell you a quick story. It was when I wrote my first book. I finished that book in 6 months. I was working a full-time job and I wrote a book. And then fast forward, the book was finished. I got it back from the editor. It was time to send it off to the publisher, and I got nervous. I started thinking, what will people say about me? What will they think? I'm still in my 20s. Do I know enough? Will I be judged? Am I a good enough writer? Is what I say clear enough? And guess what? This book right here, Navigating the Career Jungle, became a bestseller. A lot of the tips and tools that I used, I found that there's so many good points in that first book that I recommend, The Confidence Code. If I would have had The Confidence Code, that 2-week period where I tormented myself, second guessing myself, thinking, was I good enough? All of these crazy thoughts that I would never say to anyone else, I was projecting on myself. Grab this book. A lot of that torment could have been avoided if I would have read this book up front. Now, the next book that I recommend for emerging executives, women who are in male-dominated industries, is Presence. Now, this book is by Amy Cuddy, and you've probably watched her TED Talk. And if you haven't, check it out. She talks about power posing and your body language and your presence. And here's the amazing thing about Amy Cuddy's work. She helps you to unlock some of the things that you're doing unconsciously that hinder your growth as a leader, not just your personal leadership, but how you lead others as well. And the third book that I recommend is Own the Room, Discover Your Signature Voice and Master Your Leadership Presence by Amy Jin Soo. So these three books, you can pick them up physical book if you just want to hold something in your hand. Listen, I get it. This hardcover book, my first book, I just love holding a book in my hand, but I also understand the power of using an audiobook. Now, when you feel like you need to get some clarity and you need to move forward, these books will help you, especially when you're taking notes, to spark new ideas, to help get those creative juices going. And there's stories that will inspire you. And when you hear that another woman did it, I don't know about you, but it's something for me that really helps me get fired up and move forward. So, a couple more books for you. The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. Now, Shonda Rhimes, you may have heard, she's the woman who just shook up one of the most male-dominated industries, the film and entertainment industry. She left ABC after generating, well, she left Disney after generating around 2 billion, yes, billion with the B, $2 billion, and she signed a $300 million deal. Well, allegedly, the actual number hasn't been released, with Netflix. And even with her leaving, she still has some self-doubt. She talks about recently in a story, and I actually have a podcast episode on this, so I'm not going to go too deep. If you haven't listened to the Winning Season podcast, Shonda Rhimes' $300 million move, go check it out. But here's what I want to share about this book, The Year of Yes. Shonda went through a year where she questioned her own limitations, the limits that she put on herself. And that's the story she tells in The Year of Yes. She also has a TED Talk. Now, book number 5, Marie Forleo. Marie has this term, everything is figure outable. She got that from her mother. And what Marie says is that if there is something I don't know how to do, I can figure it out. And that's what you need when you feel like you need clarity and when you're struggling a little bit with confidence. You have to have an everything is figure outable attitude. So check this book out. It's good. And the 6th book on the list, you just saw it a few minutes ago. It is my very first best-selling book. I'm very proud. I'm having a proud moment here. Y'all, I didn't grow up thinking I was going to be an author. So the fact that I have multiple best-selling books sometimes still gives me chills. All right, so the reason why I want y'all to check this book out is because I talk about the importance of savvy networking. Now, when you're looking at increasing your confidence and increasing your clarity and leading in a male-dominated industries, relationships are key. And in my book, Navigating the Career Jungle, I share with you the strategy to build mutually beneficial relationships to help you advance in your career. Now, those are the 6 books that I recommend. I'm not expecting you to read them all in 1 month, but give yourself some time. I gave you an overview of these books. Figure out which book you think will help you start off with right now. Read that book now and then add another book later. Pro tip, when I'm reading a book, many times the author will reference another book. I'll make a short list of those books, and when I'm looking for books to read, I go back over that list. Because if I'm learning on one subject and the author mentioned it, I can probably go deeper on that topic in another book. So that's something I want y'all to check out. Now, next steps. If you're looking for career clarity, I want you to send an email to my team at info@zerogap.co. There's no M on that. And let us know how we can support you. If you want one-on-one executive coaching, let us know that. If you'd like to move into an area where you have a group working with you and you want to get into one of our group coaching programs, let us know. Or if you want to bring a training on women's leadership to your employee resource group at your company, we can do that as well. Just shoot us an email. Now, if you're unsure if you're ready for group coaching or executive coaching, head over to the link below, bit.ly Time to Win quiz, and take the Resilient Leaders quiz. It's only going to take about 5 minutes or so, and it will help you to understand if you're ready for group coaching or if you're ready for one-on-one. All right, y'all. Until next time, my name is Jacqueline Twillie. Continue to emulate excellence and eliminate excuses.